You told me that on Monday was a particularly busy day. What was happening on Monday?
Monday was appointment day for 5, 6 people that decided they wanted a funeral plan. So I was quite busy out there talking to different people about different funeral plans. Some were particular about the funeral plan the funeral plan company they wanted to be with and had researched it entirely. So that particular couple had been 6 months in the coming. But eventually they had decided, and I completed all the paperwork, and they were very insistent upon exactly what they wanted, which we recorded. And so that was two funeral plans there, husband and a wife. And then I went not very far from them into Street, another couple of funeral plans there. Different funeral plan company and completely a different funeral. Again, a bit like the one I described earlier, this one was going to be a more direct to crematorium. So much more cost effective, and so a different funeral plan company required there. And then finally, an insurance-based funeral plan. In fact, I've got one myself. And so that consequently resulted in a very small deposit, £25, and a monthly fee of, I think, somewhere around £30 a month. The only difference there is, as I said to the gentleman, got to live for a year. Because this particular plan, if you die within the first 12 months, they refund you all your payments plus 20%. That's not bad, is it?
It's a good return on investment.
Good return on investment. You don't want to die for it though, do you? Because you're never going to get it. But once you've lived for the 12 months, so in month 13, they won't just pay your money back, they'll pay the whole funeral. Now that appeals to a lot of people because in effect, if you worked out the cost of the funeral and the amount you're paying in, it takes about 7 to 10 years to pay that amount in. And that particular plan guarantees all third-party payments at any date into the future. So consequently, your funeral plan will always entirely be paid for. And remember, some of those third-party costs, it can be a bit tricky because who's in control of the crematoriums? Who's in control of the religious people? Whether it's the celebrant, the vicar, or the priest. And who's in charge of the doctor's fees. So those three things are out of our control. Good old funeral director, he'll keep his price to whatever he's promised, but everybody else could change. So
what you've been saying about funeral plans is probably something that everybody needs to at least look at, even if they decide not to go ahead, because it's not so much having the assets in a house or whatever, it's having the disposable income to be able to pay for the funeral within 7 days of the deceased.
Yeah, 7 days of the event. I mean, I think the thing is that there's an awful lot of different reasons why someone would buy a funeral plan. One of them is financial, so ensuring that they've been paying into a scheme where, should they die, instantly the funeral's paid for. Now, whether they've put that money in themselves but have relied upon the funeral plan company to keep it in pace with inflation, or whether they've got a regular monthly payment with the funeral plan company so that they know after, like we described earlier, after 12 months, it'll all be paid for. But an example of one, obviously if you're older, you know the reason why you're buying a funeral plan, but for a lady that I'm going to go and see on Monday, who's in her 50s, she has 4 sons. 2 of them are doing extremely well, and she's ever so proud of those. She's proud of them all. But the other 2 aren't doing so well. So as she put it to me, she said, if something happened to me yesterday, I know who's going to be paying for my funeral, and it won't be the sons that aren't doing so well. So her view was to make sure that the cost of her funeral will be covered, so that her boys that are doing really well weren't disenfranchised by the ones that weren't doing so well. So, I mean, everybody's got a reason to possibly buy a funeral plan, if the need arises.
And everybody's circumstances are different. It's age, expectation of how long they're going to live, what they expect of the funeral. I suppose it also gives the person a chance to actually focus on what they want from this end of their life. And I know it's a lot of people don't want to face it, which is probably why they don't do anything. But your comments about the fact that somebody buying a funeral plan, and I think you had a situation where somebody had died at month 10,
Yes.
and they got all the money back, or the family got the money back that they paid in, plus 20%, and that seems, with today's interest rates, amazing.
Yeah, and I think the thing is that when you're purchasing a funeral plan and you're purchasing it on that particular scheme where you have to survive 12 months, as long as the client knows that's the deal is that you've got to survive for 12 months, and if you don't, they refund your money plus 20%. Well, either way, you know, unfortunately, you don't want to die to realise that benefit, but, you know, at least it is better than just having your money back, which an awful lot of the funeral companies, that's all they would do.